Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Get tempted by mouth-watering, juicy pineapples. Chill out with refreshing tropical fruit cocktails. Del Monte. Say yes to the best.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Nadda Salim with Fashion Insights. In today's episode, मैं cover करूँगी Lux Style Awards को and the best and worst dressed women that I felt were there. मैं किसी designers का as such नाम नहीं लूँगी. I just want to cover the positives and the negatives के क्या हुए थे. काफ़ी चीज़ें थीं जो acceptable थी, काफ़ी चीज़ें थीं जो unacceptable थीं in terms of quality and design. I will give you the reasons why I think certain designs were very good and certain designs were not. एक overall look होती है when you wear something, जिसमें hair, makeup, accessories, everything is included apart from the clothes that you're wearing. So how somebody pulled off a look and how somebody totally failed in pulling that look off, we will discuss that. So before we waste any further time, so let's get on with the best dressed women. The best dressed women, in my opinion, there were quite a few, but one of the top ones was Amina Sheikh, the model Amina Sheikh. She looked classy, her makeup was perfect, her hair was perfect, not a single strand of hair was out of place. She just looked effortlessly stylish, and the design of the dress was beautiful. It was an understated color, muted color dress, and as you can see from the picture, she pulled it off gracefully. So well done to her. The next woman on my best dressed list is Asma Mumtaz. She was wearing another nice designer dress. Like I said, I'm not going to mention the designers, but again, the palette is muted. It's complementing her overall, her body shape, her figure, her face. The makeup is perfect, the hair is perfect, the accessories are not over the top. बिल्कुल उन्होंने perfect किया है. It's not over the top and it's not understated. बिल्कुल balancing look थी. So that is why for me everything worked, because the bag, the jewelry, the earrings, shoes, everything was perfect. It was a whole, the look was perfect. So, best dressed में, this is one of the prerequisites कि आपके everything needs to be balanced. एक भी element is out of place, so it throws off the look. And a lot of people don't realize that. The next person on the best dressed list would be Mehreen Saeed, again a model. She was again wearing a dress in a very muted color. Her look was understated. Her makeup was also very well suited. Her hair was also, perfectly balanced. Overall, a balanced look, and I really enjoyed seeing these few women dress gracefully, because trust me, on that particular night, there were very few women who were actually dressed elegantly. And considering Lux Style Awards is supposed to be one of the most, if not the most glamorous event of Pakistan, you expect people to be, making a little bit of effort. This Lux Style Awards wasn't as grand as the previous years we've seen, but that's still no excuse. These people had all the time to prepare for it, and they had all the best designers, so to speak, to design for them. So I don't see why anybody failed, So the next one on the best dressed list is Nabila, the stylist. Her dress was not really a dress. She was wearing a sort of a jumpsuit, and it was a very lots was actually happening in that jumpsuit, which made it a bit, for me, it wasn't as formal, so to speak. But because the color was muted, the color was white, So it just pulled the whole look together. It, as you can see from the picture, if you just look at the outfit, it looks a little confusing because there's too much happening. But because the color is white, it suddenly makes it simple and it makes it right. And then the right kind of hairdo and the makeup and the accessories make that whole look complete. So Nabila was spot on with that, and she looked stunning. Another thing that I'm doing in this particular episode, apart from the best and worst dressed women, I'm also going to give you the so-so category. And the so-so category is going to be right at the end after I've done best and worst. And again, I'm going to tell you exactly why they didn't qualify for the best dressed, or why they didn't make it to the worst dressed either. So since I've covered the best dressed, and trust me, they were the only four best dressed women, so let's move on to the worst dressed. The worst dressed, I would have to say, and I'm really sorry that I'm saying it, but it has to be said, Myra Khan. What was she wearing? I have no idea what she was wearing. She is a pretty girl, and I don't know how she walked out of her house wearing that thing. The only thing right about that dress she was wearing was the color. The color blue is good for her complexion, and she would always look nice in the color blue. But that cannot be the sole feature of a dress. Please, whoever designed it really need to show some creativity. The fabric was poor, the design was poor, the stitching was horrendous, the neck shape, the fitted sleeves, everything about that dress was horrendous. The jewelry, the accessories, the mismatched bag, I don't know what they were thinking. And then the clashing red lipstick, I don't know who came up with that, but that was a bad idea. So I think, okay, now that I've said the bad things, let me just say, if she had thought a little about her look, if she had put, instead of a traditional necklace around her neck, if she had put a nice contrast belt on top of the dress, and she'd worn some nice contrast shoes and bags, and that look would have worked. But because none of that was done, the dress was too plain, and then she was too plain to carry it. So that was like a total failed look. If I was the designer, firstly though, I would never design that, but if I was the designer, I would make that dress in lace fabric or net fabric, finish it with satin, give it some oomph. The fabric, if the fabric had something going on, it would have worked, and then the simplicity that Myra carried would have worked. But because the dress was so simple, and then she didn't do much, and then the accessories failed, it was a total disaster. Okay, so now moving on to the next disaster of the night, Humaima. Again, another actress, and she was hosting the show this time round. So you would expect the host to be the best dressed. Well, I would expect the host to be the best dressed, but obviously that was not the case. She was wearing a nice net dress, fine, but it wasn't for her body type. It made her look humongous. I don't know what she was thinking. That dress again would have worked if it wasn't so fitted. You know what I mean? If that dress sort of had cleaner lines, if it sort of loosened from the hip onwards rather than be tight body hugging, it would have worked. But looking at her all night wearing that fitted dress, I just really couldn't look at her, frankly. Sanam Saeed. Sanam Saeed was, again, she's a pretty girl, she's gorgeous, she can be the top model if she really wants, she's very well talented, and so that's why it's painful for me to say this. The dress, even the dress wasn't really that bad, but what I have an issue with is that this is an evening event. If it's an evening event, you dress accordingly. You do not wear a day dress to an evening event. And that too in tie and dye. As you can see from the picture, she looks drab. She looks like she just put on the first thing that came her way and walked out with it. The tie and dye makes it look too bohemian and too tacky for a glam event. Her makeup was okay, the only saving grace actually on this bit on Sanam was the makeup. The hair was a total disaster because it didn't seem like she'd even combed it or washed it for that matter. But the dress was a failure because it was tie and dye, it looked day wear. It would have been nice if it was just one nice solid color, because there was some work happening in the front which wasn't even visible because of the tie and dye. The tie and dye was too distracting. So I think that was also a failed look. I don't know what happened there. The other one who I thought was one of the worst dressed was Mathira. Mathira was wearing this, again, a dress which was not for her body type. Again, the colors were such that it seemed it was a day dress. In this particular dress, as you can see, the top half is fitted, and that was fine. But the problem with Desi women body types is that women in Desi, when I say Desi, Indian, Pakistanis, you know, obviously subcontinent women, we have bigger hips. So in order to design, a designer needs to cover the flaws and highlight the assets. That's the basic job of any designer. If they can't do that, then they're not designers, they're just tailors. It's as simple as that, okay? So Mathira's dress was pretty much highlighting her flaws. And this wasn't the only dress that was doing that, but sadly, pretty much a lot of dresses were doing that. So in her case, the top was fitted, which worked. And then from till the waist it was fitted, and after that it's, as you can see in the picture, it's flared, and then there's too much happening, and it's like pretty confusing as to what is happening. The front is all like gathers and pleats, and the back has a trail. That would have worked if the fitted was not till the waist, it was till the lower waist, or the hip bone as it's called. Then her figure, her torso would have looked longer. She would not have looked stumpy. So, you know, these are things that you have to think about when you're designing, or frankly when you're wearing, that does it suit you or does it not suit you. So in her, the saving grace was her hair. I really liked the way her hair was done, and even her earrings were fine. But just the dress, maybe if it was in a different color and, you know, the waist was a bit lower, it would have worked. Otherwise, again, I'm sorry, that really wasn't doing anything for me. Okay, so the next one that I think is needed help was Andaleep Rana. She is a journalist, and she was wearing a golden thing, which you can again see in the picture. Okay, I don't have anything against the dress, so to speak, but for her body type, again, it doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? Because firstly, she's too short to wear something like that, and the hemline was too high to carry that look, because she ended up looking like a ball, a short round ball. So what you do with a figure like that and with a design like that, the design would have worked if the length, if the hem was 5 inches longer. She would have looked more elegant. She would have looked like, you know, that dress was designed for her. Right now, it just didn't work. Again, the saving grace in this was, I think her makeup was quite nice. She kept it simple. Her shoes were nice. The Greek sandals were quite nice, but just the length of the dress ruined it for me. Okay, another disaster of the night was Bindiya. Yes, the famous Bindiya from the 80s. What can I say? This look, I have nothing against Eastern looks, and what I didn't like about this was there's too much happening. The sari, the colors are too loud, the makeup is too loud, the jewelry is too loud. Something had to be, you know, a bit muted for this look to work. Abhi, it's just too garish, it's looking tacky, and that should not have been allowed. Hopefully those who missed the mark will do better next time, and I hope these tips worked for you. I also have some so-so dressed ones, but what I can do is I can just quickly go through the names, and we'll show the pictures in the back, and you can see who is, you know, you can even vote on them, that who you think is if I'm right or wrong in my opinion. So the so-so look was Amna Ilyas. She used, the dress is nice, but she used too much bronzer. That's why she didn't make it to the best dressed. If the bronzer was lighter, she, in certain angles and lights, she looked actually yellow. So that was a bad job. Sana, the actress, the dress wasn't bad, but the color wasn't really that great. And then she's already a pretty broad girl, so giving her extended shoulders really didn't work because she looked broader. So that wasn't really right. Jia Ali, again, the dress wasn't bad, but the hair and makeup, what disaster. She looked like she just walked out of her house after taking a shower. That's it. Priya Altaf, again, the dress is not bad, but her hair, it was a total mess, and she just didn't seem like she'd made any effort for that. So a nice, well-designed dress went to waste, frankly. Maria Vasti, the dress looked like a day dress, and it's as simple as that. The makeup did not go with the dress either. It was, red lipstick was clashing with the white and blue, so not a good sight. Meera with her black dotted dress, okay, that might have taken years off her age, but it seemed like she was wearing a short kameez without anything at the bottom. I just wanted to say, if the sleeve was not the way it was made, if it was simpler, or it was sleeveless, it would have worked. It would have looked like a 60s dress. But as it is, it looked like a shirt, and it was a total failure. Ayan, again, it was a nice dress, very well worked. It was like a couture dress. But again, it should not have been fitted all the way down to her thigh. It should have been fitted only till her hip bone, because that also made her look huge, and no woman wants to look huge. So I think enough fashion insight about women for now. So I'll give you the tip in a bit.
Get tempted by mouth-watering, juicy pineapples. Chill out with refreshing tropical fruit cocktails. Del Monte. Say yes to the best.
Welcome back for the fashion tip. Because आज हमने Lux Style Awards को cover किया है, and I gave you a lot of these opinions, my opinions, कि some colors didn't work, some design didn't work. So I thought आज का fashion tip should be about color. So when you're thinking about the color of an outfit, especially for a special occasion, there are a few things that need to be considered. First of all, the function itself. The function should, whether it's outdoors or indoors, whether it's a day function or an evening function, whether it's the lighting is going to be white light or yellow light. Preferably आपको ये चीज़ें पता होनी चाहिए. अगर आपको नहीं पता तो थोड़ा सा margin of error होता है, because you've worked on other things कि जी day wear है, evening wear है, color palette क्या है, so वो चीज़ें work कर लेती हैं. But अगर if you haven't thought about any of these things, it won't work. Then the next aspect which you should be knowing when you're deciding the color is your own features. इसमें आपका color of your hair, color of your eyes, your complexion, these things matter, because if your eyes can actually clash with your clothes ka color, your complexion can either look fantastically glowing or it can actually look really pale depending on what color it is. So this is also a very important feature. Then the fabric. There are certain fabrics jo agar aapne, for example, you've chosen green, if you choose velvet, so the green will be a different shade, and either it will look very rich or it would look very shiny. So so fabric selection, if it's satin, it can also be shiny, but not as rich as velvet is. And chiffons are never bright. It's as simple as that. Chiffon is always a little matte, so color हमेशा उसमें different आता है. So fabric selection is very important as far as fabric is concerned, because वो either आपका fabric बहुत bright करे, color को bright कर देगा, या mute कर देगा, या dull कर देगा. So you have to know that. So when you look at all these aspects and figure out your color, you don't have to do it yourself, you can have the designer's help. But when you've decided and you've figured it out, the entire process will make you look your best, and that is the key to any design, especially for a special occasion. Like I said, it's important because sometimes the most basic of colors fail because either the fabric selection wasn't right or it just didn't suit you. And how do you decide on what color is suiting you? You have to decide or you know, choose a tone of a color which actually suits you. Remember, हर color की बहुत सारी tones होते हैं, बहुत सारे shades होते हैं. ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वो color या वो tone जो आपको suit कर रही है वो मुझे suit करेगी, या जो मुझे suit कर रही है वो आपको suit करेगी. So it's very important to know which one is working for you, and that can only be done when you put that color in front of you and you put your hand on top of it. It immediately आपको पता लग जाएगा कि ये चल रहा है, ये काम करेगा, ये अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, मुझे मैं पेल लग रही हूँ, मैं अच्छी लग रही हूँ. All of that, it's obvious in literally just by putting your hand on it. So every time you go shopping, please ensure that you put your hand on it and you compare how your complexion differs from one color to another. Okay, so I think that's enough tip for now, and I shall see you next time. Take care. Bye.